Spartans! What is your profession? This is Sparta!
What is going on, everybody? We're back at it at another episode. Of course, this one, I think it's going to hit home for a lot of people, including myself, because we all have that one musician that we love, the one musician that we wish he was still making music, the one musician that, like, God damn, what if he was still around? How would it have been? We all have the one musician that wish he was still doing his thing. And that is the hardest part. And that's why I named it tonight's show The Lost Note. We need to understand, we really need to understand these musicians are under a microscope at all times. If they wipe their ass with the wrong toilet paper, we know about it. And personally, I never want to live that way. Be on a microphone. Yes, I put myself out there every single day, turning this camera on, going live with you guys, but not to the extreme they do. Could we explore it a little bit deeper and understand what we're going through? Of course we can. That's why we're here tonight, to kind of like understand what the heck is going on. I personally believe music has a huge part of mental health, the way they lives, the way they interact. Because let's be honest here, guys. They drink pretty heavily. They party pretty hard. Drugs are involved. That's not something that we understand as a normal human being. Maybe, yeah, we partied, probably did a little drugs when we were kids, drink a little bit too much. But to not that extreme, these guys do. They go to the next level. Dive into the fame, the glory, the bling, everything. If you take that away, you don't have anything. It's just another person. And that's what I think we forget. We see these guys up on this high pedestal, and we wonder, wow, how can I get to that level? How can I be that? How can I be that cool? Don't see the other part of it. The part of like, oh, they are actually struggling. They do have wife problems, husband problems, kid problems, family problems, maybe money problems. And that we just see the fame, the bling. Some of these guys who live like a miracle life, even with the money, they have a simple life, simple everything, and nothing crazy. Let's say hi to Mariana. She jumped in the chats already. Hey, Mariana, what is going on? So we need to understand that it's a challenge every single day to keep their life very private. So that's why some of them have their house barricaded or security, whatever they have. Then you have the other guys who put themselves out a little bit too much and they don't have any privacy. This one I'm kind of like fighting back and forth with this comment I'm gonna make right now because I really don't know how I feel about this because I have mixed feelings behind it. Let's say you walk in a restaurant and you see your favorite rapper, rock star, pop star, whatever. Do you really bother him and ask him for a autograph, or do you let him eat in peace? I personally think they should let him eat in peace. Just leave him alone. Maybe as they're walking out, maybe bother them then, like they're done eating, they're leaving. You can, hey, can I bother you for an autograph or a picture? I think they're gonna respect a little more, and they'll be okay with it. And this doesn't only go in for musicians; it goes for any famous person. Listen, one thing I remember Eminem singing, he's taking a fucking piss and people are asking for an autograph. Yeah, just leave him alone when he's taking a piss. Don't fucking bother him. Don't bother him when he's taking a shit either. That's one thing I would tell you right now. Don't bother him with that shit. Fuck that. Just leave him alone for that. So it's just one of those things. Oh, I forgot to drop the link. That would actually really, really help if I dropped it. There we go. Like I said, if anybody want to join, you know the rules, guys. Camera up, mic on, smile, and let's have a conversation. So they are taking a lot of risk putting themselves out there, but they do something they love. I gotta give them credit for that. How many people actually do what they love and enjoy it? It's only 1%. That's my personal opinion. I think it's only 1% who actually goes out and does what they love to do, and they enjoy it, and that is a big thing. Okay. Oh, what was I left off? Now, being in the public eye does take a toll on you, mentally, physically, whatever you want to call it. It takes a toll. You have to be this certain look at certain times, certain everything. It's not like nothing. It takes a toll over time. So you have to keep that in mind. The toll, the risk, all that stuff, they could put themselves out there. And that is sometimes a problem. It could be a huge problem sometimes. Because sometimes you just need a little privacy. Privacy to just enjoy your life every single day. Just like everybody else does. But they don't have that privilege. Because anywhere they go down, they're going to get mobbed. And that is what we're here to answer. Most of these guys take their lives way too soon. Some of them don't even take their life. They get deleted for different reasons. So let's try to peel the banana back or peel it, I don't know, whatever you want to call it. So before we get into that, let me a question. Uh, the question I was going to ask everybody really fast before we move on. I'm waiting for the guys to come on. I have David says to be on in a few minutes. Who's ready for the fight tomorrow? I am actually looking forward to watching it. Um, do I feel it's going to be rigged a little bit? I think so. But which side is going to win? See, I have mixed feelings with the fight tomorrow. So half of it, I feel it's going to Tyson has the power and the experience to win a fight. Then you have Paul, who has also the power, I think, but also has the youth against him. So it can go either way. But anyway, let's get back to this. So, pressure. What kind of pressure do you think these guys have? I would say they have a lot of pressure because these labels they sign contracts with. Let's get this guy in here first before I go into that.
Hey, what's going on, everybody?
Man, how are you tonight?
I gotta take it one day at a time, just surviving,
And that's all we can do, right, man?
pretty much.
So, you read the title. What's your opinion?
My
You know what? I'll give you the floor for a minute.
opinion on why a lot of artists dying young. I'll be honest with you guys, this is something I've been asking this question for over 2 to 3 decades, especially on certain genre of music, either it be rock and roll or heavy metal or hip hop or rap, so to speak. Because from one reason, it's not always under the same issue, but it seemed to be some kind of weird curse when we deal with our young artists who have potential to be really great, but end up losing their life short. I think this is the discussion you will have to get into on different level because you gotta ask ourselves why are they doing what they're doing to affect their career. I don't want to go in so far deep because I know there's a lot we had to talk on this, a lot of topic, a lot of area in this particular state concerning our young artists, but I'm saying it's becoming a problem, especially in the hip hop industry right now. Even the icon are saying to themselves, they're noticing that a lot of these young people are limiting themselves to the point they're dying out. Correction, they delete themselves or they're losing their life quickly than usual. I believe on the hip hop side of things, it's something more, but I think if we talk about it further, we can break it down for what it is. I'm sure there could be a multiple episode thing. It may be because we have some hip hop head out there. We have some heavy metal heads. We have some rock music heads. People who have been paying attention to what's going on with these young artists, and they have their own theory or their own philosophy behind it. But they're well aware of what is going on. This has been going on for a while now. It's not making any logical sense. The question I ask is, what can one be being a musician and have longevity without losing their life or what being cut of short? That is a very serious question to ask, if you ask me. What do you think? Okay, I don't want to go into it too deep because believe me, this has been on my mind for you for many years.
Hmm.
And I'm not trying to look down on anybody, especially in the mumble rap industry, which is considered to be the trash of hip hop speaking, but it's getting out of hand, to be honest. It really is.
So we have to break down a little bit first. So you have half of them that do stupid shit that end up getting deleted for Diddy versus Diddy and versus help me out here.
Diddy and who? The only big
Not
Diddy versus.
not Diddy. What's those two guys' name? The rappers that they were shooting each other at one point.
Oh, you
Um,
mean the latest one? Drake versus Kendrick Lamar
no, I'm talking about back in the '90s.
in the 90s. That would be Tupac versus Biggie.
Thank you. That's what I was going at. Let's talk about that for a few seconds here.
Hmm.
So these guys had beef for some weird reason. Who knows what the real reason was? We know what we were told on the TV.
For
Oh,
what?
they had beef. Go ahead, dude.
I'm glad you asked that one because they was based on word on the street and what people were aware of or that have heard. The Biggie and Tupac beef seemed to be orchestrated
I believe that.
for a certain reason because before they had beef, they were cool with each other. Tupac came to the East Coast to do something with Biggie, like some kind of collaboration. And thanks to some of Diddy personnel, aka bodyguards, who were there when I was going there, they had an issue, allegedly. I'm not gonna say allegedly because until his situation is fixed, they were the itch that Diddy had, allegedly, having Biggie doing a collaboration with Pete, well, with Tupac. And he did not like that because it's almost as if that were to go down, it would create a vacuum where he would lose control of his creativity or the creative right over um, Biggie. Let's be real, Biggie is on a Bad Boy record, right?
Hmm.
Tupac is on a death row. Before the beef became in existence, every rap artist from the East or the West could like to collaborate and make great music. But for some apparent reason, it's more so you got to worry about the executive. Diddy was the executive of a Bad Boy record. And he may have assumed that if they collaborate and they make more music among themselves without his input, it could open an avenue or door whereby if Biggie feel like he don't want to be on the Bad Boy record, he could go on his own and make do his own thing. He will lose his what they call cash cow. Let's think about it. Biggie is the cash cows on the East Coast. If you were to do your math, if you were to do your logistic on that, when Biggie hit in the East Coast, Jay Z was nowhere near Biggie.
I agree.
Biggie was bringing the money, mad money for Bad Boy record. Biggie was considered the king of New York. Tupac, even though he originally from Brooklyn, let's look on that part, was
Oh yeah.
considered to be the king of LA with his style of music. Now imagine having a collaboration with both Biggie and Tupac on a record. Let's look at the dollar sign. If they were to do such a thing, and they did that without P. Diddy influence, don't you think along the line they can buy themselves out of the record deal and be on their own? Now look at the logic of things. But according to one of Diddy personnel, Diddy was afraid that that was going to happen. So they did something to Tupac to make it seem that Biggie knew about it. And Biggie was not down for that type of shenanigan. He was about making music, but he got egged on by Diddy to make it seem that there was order set up by Tupac to make it seem like he had something to do with him being jumped whatsoever. And then when you had that incident that having it happened in BT. I don't know what when they had that rift in the musical award between the East Coast and the West Coast, and Suge Knight was speaking out about it. Ever since then, it became a thing. Cause long before that, when we had a problem in hip hop, it's all about battle rapping. It was like a diss. Either you have a diss record or you battle rap the person. Let's perfect example. We had KS1 who could be with a couple other people. We need to have beef. We have Nas versus Jay Z. Look at the Nas versus Jay Z beef they had. It stayed on the dropping the best bar. Everybody knew throughout New York City, Nas won that one hand down. Jay Z could never compete with Nas when it comes to lyrics. Nas literally destroyed him. But Jay Z found a way into the Benton Avenue and controlled Def Jam, right?
Hmm.
So even people who understand the East Coast music, Jay Z was never better than Nas. He was never better than Biggie. And people who pay attention to Jay Z, he was never the best rap artist in any era. While he was in his career, he had a huge competition. He couldn't beat not even the East Coast rapper, not even Ludacris, or anyone who came on hot. So if you have hip hop fanatic who can come out and just bring in the digit, bring in the numbers, they will point that out too. So when you had that issue with Tupac and Biggie, that was more set up on purpose.
I think it was a setup. To be honest with you, like you said,
It was
because
really set up
like
on purpose because I would love to see a collaboration with Biggie and Tupac, see the kind of music they could have produced, and I'm sure it would have been what? It could have been epic.
I think we'll be
You
talking
think?
about it today.
Yeah, imagine the style of Biggie raps. Imagine combining the style of Biggie, how he rap, and combine that with Tupac and put it on a disc, put it on a record, and let that thing come out. Because think about a lot of collaborating. Eminem made people perform better when he did a collaborate with them. If you don't believe me, ask Buster, ask Kanye West. They said when they did the collaborate with Eminem, Eminem was a white guy, but we have black conscious people like Umar
Do not
Johnson.
get me started that bullshit.
No, no, no. I'm going to say it out there. We had black conscious people like Umar Johnson and many other who consider Eminem not part of hip hop greatest. And I have an issue with it logically and technically speaking because unless you are a hip hop icon who built a platform like KS1, Kim, and many others who all said out of their own mouth, including LA Cool J, that said Eminem is one of the greatest of all time. And
I personally think so too.
let's not forget they actually did a collaboration, LA Cool J and Eminem. Listen to that record and tell me that's not an epic masterpiece right there. Eminem idolized the icon like LA Cool J, Tupac, Biggie, KS1, Nas, Rakim, Fat Joe. Even Fat Joe recognized Eminem is one of the best of all time. But with these black conscious activists, social, what we want to call them, when we come to genre of music, that is not their lane. They just stay the hell out of it completely. Just shut the F up. No, seriously. Because when you want to create this narrative about Eminem, then you also have to say the thing with the Beastie Boy. The Beastie Boy are pioneered who that helped create Def Jam Record
Hmm.
to begin with. So you guys say the same about them as well. But when it comes to music and the creation of hip hop, these activists, these socially women to call them, They don't have a say in it. They just don't. The only people who have a say concerning hip hop and rap are the icon that built the platform to begin with. Let's make that super clear. I hope this going viral. I hope my face showed up in the conversation. But all this nonsense I've been seeing for the past couple of years, that need to die out with a nuke. I want to hear anybody who have not contributed heavy into the hip hop industry on building a platform on rap who are considered to be icon. If you're not an icon in the industry who have built and paid the way for Eminem to come in, you don't have a say in it. Not you, Dr. Umar Johnson, not whoever out there. If you wasn't up there and you didn't build the lane for these folks, you don't have a say in it. It's better to shut the hell up. And I said it. But going back to the actual comedy concerning Biggie and Tupac, I wish that never happened. Because after that, it became a trend where other music executives, they knew what was going on. Let me give you a perfect example. NWA.
Ooh,
I'm going there. NWA was a great rap group, but
probably one of
believe
the
me,
best.
it was a great. I don't say one of the yeah. You can say one of the best. Just like you have NWA on the East Coast, you had a Wu Tang Clan. No, correction. NWA in the West Coast, you had the Wu Tang Clan in the East Coast, right? But even Ice Cube noticed this. The executive were pushing them in the direction that it wouldn't beneficial for the community. Yes, they have rap, speak about what they were experiencing, what they were going through concerning with police brutality, concerning the environment, concerning the community. We were no different from the Wu-Tang Clan. Wu-Tang Clan was artistically great in creating great music, in creating great raps. And I'm glad there was no rivalry either too because what Wu-Tang Clan was all about is making music expressing their experience in the East Coast, where most of them from Staten Island and Brooklyn, so to speak. NWA was the same way at one point. NWA ended up breaking up in two factions. Some went to Def Jam on the Suge Knight. Some hung out with Ice Cube until Dr. Dre did find his way out of that camp. But after that, we had a lot of other great rappers coming from different regions, from the Dirty South, from Mississippi, and many who are great. They have potential to be great, but some either figure out due to issue with the record label or due to internal record label greed where they were being played based on their contract. Oh, what about DMX? DMX is a special man. DMX is a special case.
He actually underrated. I thought. I don't know.
No,
He's
no,
very
it was
underrated.
it's not that he was underrated. He was the what you would consider to be the rap poster child of someone who had severe trouble past based off his upbringing. But he could have been far greater than. It's funny. He could have been far greater than anyone else. When I mean, and to me, DMX was actually the real king of New York, right
I
after
agree with that.
Biggie, right after Biggie. You know what I'm saying? That Jay-Z admitted out of his mouth in one podcast when he was going on tour with DMX and few other cat, and he said out of his own mouth when DMX go up before him, there's something about DMX that captivate the crowd so much. This is a sold out crowd on multiple arenas, stadium, whenever they went on their tour. When DMX get on stage, He is so specially gifted that the whole entire crowd is not only locked in, they grew into his performance. And what he did, no one could either implement or surpass him after he was done with his performance. Even Jay-Z admitted it was, it's like if you think the highest mountain is Mount Everest, the bigger mountain than Mount Everest was Mount DMX. Let's put it like that.
Hmm.
He was that damn good, but drugs and his troubled past took him out. Did I'm not gonna lie, my younger brother bought his first 3 or 4 albums, and I listened to it intensively. What drive me banana listening to his album, if anyone paid attention, in every DMX album, toward to the end, the man have a prayer. And I'm not gonna come here start preaching, because I used to be a Bible nerd, but I can immediately tell that he was crying for help in every album he put a prayer in. It's like I don't think people realize he was crying for help. He needed help. I listened to that album extensively and I was like, nah, this man is going through something. This guy is beyond gifted. But he lived long enough, but he did not live as long as I wish he could be. Because of all the drug he have taken to his system for a long period of time, it have its after effect. He didn't die young, but he died too soon. He could have stayed much longer. That is one cat I can say. But if we go into the mumble rap arena, that mumble rap arena is a free fall. I think that's
I will say one
the
thing. Oh, David, I want to say one thing.
go ahead.
DMX, before he died, you can see in his face. I'm looking at the pictures right now. You knew something was going on. Something was up, and it was like he didn't look healthy. He looked old and beat up way too soon than he should have.
He did. But the thing is,
Now,
but even before you look at his face, if you have a good musical ear when listening to music and listening to the lyrics, his first 3 to 4 album will let you know he did have a severe problem. The issue is, was anybody paying attention to it?
same thing with Lincoln Park. Let's use that guy for example, Cherry. One I personally think he's one of the biggest legends in rock, rock slash rap style of. They had a unique flavor, whatever.
No, that flavor was a lane on its own.
Oh God, yeah.
When I say it was a lane on its own, they had the right to be considered part of the hip hop great because when JD did that collaboration with them, I hate to say it, but you know JD added a good flair to it. They created a lane that many other follow after. For example, did an independent artist named Fix, a PHIX. I shout out to him. He's doing a lot of collaboration with Dax, a fellow Canadian-born Nigerian, CBN. That's the phrase. They're both independent artists, and he has done a bunch of collaboration with Dax as of lately, and it's great music. He also mirrored that same type of lane that that dude from Linkin Park created, and became real cool because no one thought you can do both ends at the same time. But remember, Linkin Park was a group, and that lead singer he had a flair with his style of singing, which I really enjoy. And I'm not gonna lie, I listen to Linkin Park too, because some of their songs it was more like how you say it was part of my also mental therapy at the time because to hear someone who I could relate to in his music, and he was one of them. Because something about his lyric, it struck a chord. And I'm not the only one who can recognize that. There's many others who can say that dude was helping them to deal with internal issues that they weren't comfortable talking about. So believe me, when you start bringing up names, phew, I hope it's not a trigger to me because some people were iconic. Some people should not left the earth yet.
I'll be honest with you. I mentioned this on the channel before, and when a lot of times I remember driving from work when I got the news, and I was like, "Get the fuck out of here!" I didn't even know he was suffering mental issues, but now that I know, and I go back and listen to his music, and like he's screaming for fucking help. Almost like 95% of the movies, the
Hmm.
music. Yes, I know he didn't create the music. It was Mike that lead. He was the leader actually. I didn't know
Hmm.
that at the time, but now I look back at some of the songs he actually wrote. I'm like, he's asking for help, and nobody went out there and help him. Give him a hug, says, "Hey, you're good, bro. We got you."
And I'm glad you noticed that because when I listen to his song, I can relate with him. But even that song is will let you know that he is crying out for help. But
Yeah,
here's the problem: a lot of these media executives, they knew, they were aware of it, but they never care.
I don't say they don't care. I don't think they thought it was so as serious as they thought
No,
it
no, no, no,
was.
no, 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 no. They're aware of it because let me tell you something. What are being exposed? A lot of these media executives, when they sign someone to the label, they got some kind of insurance policy on them just in case if they kick the bucket, that the huge amount of money they'll collect. Have you been made aware of that?
I didn't know that at all, actually.
They want a business practice with a lot of these record labels who they have certain artists that they're already aware of that their path will lead to that particular path. But they got a life insurance policy on these artists just in case of. Because if they kick the bucket before the contract is over, there's a certain amount of money they can collect back.
Of course. Why wouldn't it be?
You get my point?
Yeah.
So some of these artists were considered to be cash cow. And these executives, these record labels were willing to milk as much money they can out of these people until they're no longer useful. Uh, Let's
Why am
let
I surprised? I'm not surprised at all, actually.
let's be logical here. Is it the record label job to care about your health and your well-being?
No, they care about your
What you can put
like. Let's be honest. They don't make money selling albums. They make money by touring.
touring? At one point, they were making money based on the sale, how much CD you sell in Best Buy and all the other. When you have Best Buy, when
No,
you have
actually, the
circuit,
CDs at Best Buy, they were not making the artists was not making any
I
money
know
off that.
at
The
one point,
album companies.
at one point they were making money from the CD sales, from Best Buy, Circuit CD, PC Richards, and what another one? What Atlantic? Not Atlanta Record. With another store we told you to be in Union Square before it went down. Back before the streaming service came in, they were making the money from that at first. Then people tried to bootleg it. Then they try and beat the bootlegger by creating a unique type of CD that will have something embedded. So when you put it on your computer, you get a Easter egg. If you know what I mean, right? Because it was
Hmm.
encoded. Then from there went to the MP3, to the MP3, to the streaming. Now in streaming, you can't really cheat them no more because it go to the streaming service.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
So they were making their sell from the sales based on how much CD they'll sell or how much download they were making. Now there's a unique way they make their money from how often their music being played, it's called royalties. They're the calculator on based on how much they charge each streaming service to pay them for each time that song get played. They do make money. It's just they gotta understand how that system is built and structurized. Yeah, they do make money on their touring too, on the ticket sale. Certain artists are considered to be the sold out artists. And of all of them all, the greatest of them all is actually Eminem.
In rap.
In rap, even though in rap, in any genre of music, let Eminem go anywhere outside the United States, there won't be no more ticket to buy.
Now, if you let's put this together. There are other artists like Five Finger Death Punch. If you go to their concerts, they're sold out in minutes because they
I know,
have
I
because
know,
they're a metal band. They're a
I know,
very good fucking show too. I've seen them three
I
times
know.
live, and like it's
But here's the
great.
thing: Eminem is the king. He went diamond. How many artists do you know have gone diamond besides Eminem?
Oh, I haven't checked to be honest with you, bro.
That's the problem. His album sale went diamond. Yeah, platinum, multi-platinum, double platinum, etc. Diamond is like the last stop.
I didn't know
When
that.
when you go on diamond, you broke the scale. Oh, I remember Napster. Whew, that's the Napster
So
years.
let's actually talk about that for 1 second, and we get back on track after that.
Hmm.
So Napster, I don't blame Metallica what they did. I actually respect them what they did. I'll tell you why. These guys make their living of making music. Am I
Hmm.
wrong? Right. So when you're bootlegging it or stealing it from them, you're taking food out of their mouths or money out of their mouths for the kids and
Hmm.
so on.
Hmm.
So you're IT. So if I take your job away from you and give it to
Hmm.
somebody else, or still completely get rid of the whole IT I'm taking money out of your mouth.
Intellectual property. That is highway robbery. That is correct.
So why would I be mad what they did? I'm not.
No, you cannot be mad because I think we created a society in this country where people are too entitled to almost literally everything.
Don't get me started with that shit.
I've been aware of that for more than 2 decades. It became extremely annoying whereby you had this liberal, far right liberal, far left, no, far right, more, what do you call those people? Hardliners and far left liberals. It get to a point whereby whatever they say doesn't make logical sense. I just look at it, look like a laughing stock, like a joke. Even with this more routine election, yeah, I did not vote because you're not gonna put me in a situation to choose the letter of two evil. I'm not doing that again. You did that with Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump, letter of two evil. Then you had the letter of two oldies,
Mhm.
Joe Biden and Donald Trump. Now you got no. I'm not doing that. I'm sorry. If you can give me a better candidate to vote on, I'm not wasting my time with this. It
So
become
hang on,
joke.
let's get off politics for a second. Let's get back on
And
track here.
I didn't mean of it, but he mentioned Michael Jackson.
I have mixed feelings about him.
That mixed reviews on that one because for one, I am not sure it is something, but I believe somebody don't want him to be on his own. Somebody don't want him to have the type of power he had. 'Cause when I heard he was buying, how I want to put this, what that term they call you buying their master copy, the catalog back, but they're buying their catalog back. No, they were
Hmm.
buying their master back to have complete ownership. Certain huge record label did not want Michael Jordan to have that type of power because when you buy certain catalog that costs who knows billions of dollars, you create an empire whereby as long as he have it, the amount of money they generate from royalty, it goes straight to his estate. I believe it was set up for him to be taken out. Because he have a lot of people get their master back. He did.
I
But then
know
like
that towards the
it,
end of his life, he was struggling financially really bad. I don't think he ever recovered after the whole trials he had with uh, the kids molestation cases he had.
it go way but it way further than that. It go way further than that.
You think so?
Yeah, let me explain to you why.
Okay, I'm listening.
Let me bring to you into recollection. There was a commercial that he shoot that he had got caught on fire.
Yeah, the Pepsi commercial. I remember that.
And since then, what will he was prescribed to use to deal with the pain? Can you remember what prescription he was given to deal with the pain?
Oxys.
He was given painkillers, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if you was to look deep into that, the type of prescription we're getting, which is painkiller, what was inside the painkiller that could it considered to be highly addictive?
Cocaine.
There's a pharmaceutical that have been held responsible for the huge growth of addicts who were addicted to one particular type of painkiller, and what they have in common. You don't know?
Tell me. Tell me.
Opio.
Okay.
MJ had opioid in one of his painkiller prescription ingredients, and ever since then he had been addicted to it for a long period of time. So when he went to that lawsuit, which is more like that's another setup too as well, because I don't think he's a molester, but he was trying to relive his childhood with younger artists and younger people. So he do love kid, I will believe that, but the way he was made to look crazy, that was the internal setup.
Um, I don't want to get into much of the kid thing, but what I would say was I blame the parents a little bit too, because you're leaving the kids with a strange rich guy.
That is
What the
true.
fuck are you thinking?
Yeah, but it's not what R. Kelly though.
That's a whole different story then.
Mm,
But but let's get back on track. So I want to ask you a question really fast.
I'm on track. I just giving you an example. That's all.
Yeah, I want to answer your question. Do you feel musicians, artists, rock bands, whatever you want to call them, they have a impact on their mental health and physical health?
I believe in a huge percentage of it, depending what kind of music they're producing. But also, you need to understand something. The more iconic musicians are writing music based on their life experience, and sometimes based on such music, it have a huge impact on them indirect without in them realizing it. But let's be real, we have certain artists who did not die young, but their music come back to haunt them a little bit further in life. Many in the R&B, in the blues, and whatsoever, sometimes they don't be careful what they're writing because in present time, certain people are saying certain things, and without not allowed to realize it, that they were actually confessing in their music, aka Diddy, aka Drake, and a few others. If you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Because, like I said, let you have a musical ears. There's something that have been put on lyrics that you may think like, oh, that's the thing, but when you start to pay attention more closely, like, wait a minute, was this guy confessing that what I think it is? Was he actually admitting what he said he was doing? Because R. Kelly, for example, I had to stop listening to his music because when I started to go back to some of his lyrics, this guy was actually saying what he was actually was doing. But the fact is, unless you was aware of it ahead of time, you won't think of it until after you go back. You start to realize, wait a minute, this guy was.
Fucked up.
Hmm.
Let's use Molly Cruz for example.
Oh,
Oh yeah. So I'm gonna take that one a little personal too because one of the guys, Nick, he's actually Greek. I don't know if you knew that actually.
I
Um,
know.
yeah, the guy, the dude who was married to Pamela Addison and whatever her fucking name is, he's 100% Greek, believe it or
Ah,
not. And that was unethical for a Greek to go have hair like that. All the bullshit back then. And like they expected you to
mm-hmm.
be clean shaved, tie, everything. So if you watch the movie The Dirt, it really breaks it down really well. They were fucked up on drugs 99.9% of the time. I think Nick was the biggest one because he lived this little protected bubble life when he was with his parents. Then he started, oh, this makes me feel really good. Then he drink, oh, this I like this even more now. Now at sex and inclusion, now you got three whammies. Oh, I like being high, drunk, and getting my dick wet. Oh yeah, he was hooked hard.
But you cannot blame him because if you want to go back further, this environment came from one particular type of nightclub that was famous in New York City during the early days.
It wasn't
That
Johnny
means
Depp's club, was it?
was it Club 54, that nightclub back in the 50 or 60 that was known to have a reputation when all the greatest artists under that era would go there, and that's the place for them to be completely free and do whatever drug they want to do. But not that club I'm referring to, or what's the name of that particular club? 'Cause it was in New York City. It
My
was
question
the
was Johnny Depp the owner of it?
no, they were way before Johnny Depp, I believe.
Okay, I'm not
There
sure
was
which one you're talking
there
about.
was either 70 or the 60s or the 50s. I can't remember which era was it that all the big name artists to come to that particular club in New York and party like crazy. And within that environment, they were able to get their supply without no one stopping them from doing so.
Oh yeah, they were paying people off.
Bingo. So they took that environment and took it to Hollywood, where we hear not only artists, we have actors that were doing this since the 50s, 60s, 70s. It was a known habit. Explain to me how all these artists, if they get hold to their supply without law enforcement stopping them after so many decades. Explain that to me. No, I want someone to make sense to me. That have no, I know, but that have been known for multiple decades. We have heard former actors who showed up in the what that therapy show where they had that doctor who the doctor for that therapy who the therapy for celebrities,
Doctor Drew.
Dr. Drew, when one in particular mentioned how her father had her in swinger parties where
Jesus, what the fuck,
her
man?
father and mom had her in their escapade. I don't want to say the word, but es- that have this is not. I pay attention to detail for so many years, and I found out I'm in the most dumbed down society that people want to rewrite history but don't pay attention to detail. This what's going on. This has been going on for a long time. It's just that thanks to social media, thanks to reality TV, we want to rewrite what really happened, act like it never existed, but it actually did existed. This has been going on for far too long. That's why there's a saying, Hollywood is the devil playground. Thank you, Studio 54. Thank you. Mm,
Eric,
thank
thanks,
you.
bud. I owe you one.
Thank you. That's the one.
They were probably connected. Simple as that. Because you have all these movie stars, celebrities, banging, danging, whatever you want to, jinging, doogie, whatever you want to fucking call it.
And the people who are part of that type of that era, one of them taught Diddy how to go about it.
I'm not surprised about that, actually.
You cannot. I'm just collecting the dot. I'm not stupid. One of them, I'm not gonna mention name,
Debatable, but
was a mentor to Diddy to do what he did. But it came from that
look what happened
environment.
to him now. He got caught.
Ugh, that is
But
so
when it
true.
comes to their everyday fast paced life, bro, where does the boundary stop and begin? Seriously. Okay, we have seen all these movies. Okay, I'll give you a great example, right? Five Finger Death Punch, one of my favorite bands. Ivan Mooney, lead singer, great fucking voice. He publicly admitted he was having alcoholism problems, really bad, to the point that his band members had to pull him off stage and bring somebody else to sing for him. That's how bad it got. Now he's sober for a few years, more than a few years, but a good amount of time. Last time I saw him live, he had a bat in his hand. He always gives away to. He asked who sober is. People are like always fucking raising their hand. He's getting pissed, like, yo, there's no joke, this is serious. And he found somebody who's actually sober for a long time. He has a bat sign, all the members sign, like, here, take this, remember to keep sober, kind of thing. You know what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
So we know this is an issue with these guys. So where do the boundaries end and when do they begin? The question is now.
When it began, it started from Studio 54. It moved to Hollywood. Then you had three different turf. One turf belonged to the penthouse former owner, late owner, you know who. The other one belonged to Hustler magazine former owner, late owner, you know who I'm talking about. And the remaining stay on the Hollywood production turf, either being acting or music. I'm just tricking out the dot because I did not forget those groups. Playboy, no, it was Playboy. Sorry, remember Playboys?
Mm-hmm.
How what was done in Studio 54 would continue off in the Playboy mansion, as also in the Hustler mansion as well. But the Hustler guy was more aggressive than Mr. Playboy himself before he passed away.
But he wasn't aggressive. He let the girls do whatever they wanted, kind of. He let
No,
them, like,
Mr. Playboy no, he let the guy do what he want, but he also let his guests do what they want because his turf was considered to be
safe zone.
a neutral turf. But Mr. Hustler was more aggressive to the point whereby they were trying to sue that guy left and right to what he was pushing.
Yeah, because he couldn't
But
keep
the
his
re-
hands to himself. You know when
and the
no
re-
noise.
and the rest of the group was more into the acting industry and the music industry. They keep it in plain sight in a very unique way. It was never going to end because it was something that the elite want to keep. It was kicked out of New York first because of the law department. The law enforcement had enough with Studio 54. It was making New York City look kind of bad, so to speak. So they moved that across the country to keep you on the west side. Then Diddy learned from his mentor, brought it back to the east side. And everywhere else, he created an environment for.
You know what? I'm still shocked with P Diddy. To be honest with you, you're not.
I can't be when you grew up in Brooklyn and you hear the word on the street, you hear the murmur, you hear the word, you listen to what people have been discussing about that they never make it to the radio because if you make it on the radio, you might get jumped. AKA Wendy Williams. Wendy Williams was the biggest snitch because she hear a lot of the women on the street and she bring it to her radio station before she got her TV talk show and she was threatened a lot of time not to speak on certain things because she was told it's none of her beeswax. Remember? So that was the thing. If you were close to the music and the genre out in Brooklyn, New York, or New York City, then you understand what happened going on the street. We hear the word, we hear the rumor, we hear the whispers. It's just
But
that as more and more connected
that's a good
dots.
point. That's a good point because a public image or public role does play the role of how they live their lives. The outcome of X, Y, and Z happens. So we're hear these rumors. Yo, did you hear what so and so happened, bro? Holy shit, he went
Unless you were
down.
there, unless you were there at the event, or you were there in the back there, you know someone that knows somebody in the back there who talked about it. That have been a thing because if you look at that barbershop conversation among the battle rappers, they have the discussion and they break down multiple topics that have not only taken place within their arena of battle rapping, but before them and who, and some people even come to their barbershop talk conversation setup, and that particular barbershop in New York, Manhattan, but they're still not allowed to drop too much because they're still a part of that particular organization just to protect themselves from liability. You know what I'm saying? There are
Mhm.
dirt out there. There's so much dirt out there. It's just that unless you have a safe zone that you can be free of any retaliation, that you can actually speak upon it. Unless say you move to the motherland, which ain't nobody come to the motherland to come and match you over there because the mother don't play around.
This is a different story.
I'll be real. The motherland is way more scared than these music executives and these movie executives because when you go over there, you're on their turf. They look like, hey, take your not to go right back out there. We don't do that over here. Not gonna threaten our guests. If they're our guests, they're our guests. They're protected by us. That's the motherland. If you don't know that, but over here, there's so much red tape, there's so much bureaucracy, there's so much shenanigan going on that if you were to go in deep in this particular topic, why it happened, what is going on, who know unless that person responsible kick the bucket, then you can actually speak about it afterward.
Yeah, I think my phone is broken. Calling the afterlife. Sorry, dude.
I ain't got no gold phone for you. No gold phone. I ain't going to no witch or no whitlock to get it. No, I'm good. Leave it with them. I don't need that. Even if the gold phone actually exists. And I
Because a lot. Let's use the other catch 22 right now. Let's use Metallica for example, right? Metallica, one bass singer died in a car accident. Wasn't their fault. Things happen sometimes, and they took that hard. Now what?
I don't
That's the
no.
other.
Now that you mention that, this also in the same lane with a particular actor who died too soon.
Paul Walker,
There you go.
great
And
actor,
yeah,
great fucking
well,
actor.
there's rumor that it was a setup too.
Fun fact about him: he was married to a Greek, and he's baptized in Greek Orthodox Church, by the way. And
But
he was a Greek citizen.
there's a rumor that he got set up for that too. There's a rumor about that circulating. That
I
was
don't know
never
about
going to
that much.
happen. No, because if you understand his background, he was actually a street racer entirely.
Yeah, I
It
heard about
got,
that. He loved racing; it
but
was his passion.
yeah, but for him to be in that accident, it did not add up. Something was off about it.
I don't know.
So, from what I heard, it doesn't add up. Something is missing. Don't know who to put their finger on, so it's hard to say. But he was gone too soon.
Oh, absolutely. See, it makes me think now. You listen to these excuse me, these musicians that have gone. Nickelback, a great example. But right now, I'm in a Nickel. I wasn't. I'm Lincoln Park. I'm sorry, Lincoln Park. Lincoln Park. Ever since they announced they're coming back, people keep giving me shit. But I've been listening to their own music because that's what I have to listen to. The new album is not out yet. I'll look up in a minute when it's coming out. But my point is trying to get to is what do you think they're not coming back? It's a business at the end of the day. Think about it.
Let me be realistically real. When it comes to music group, this has been a thing for many years now. When a particular artist either no longer a part of that particular group that have a huge impact, it's almost hard to come back without that particular person. We can list many musical groups who have missing one particular member and said that member no longer is it never felt the same. The impact on them it never felt the same because it's like that guy or that girl with a linchpin to the impact they had. If you go down the list, you start to point it out one by one. Be like,
Hmm.
nah, this person made it for what this person was key. They put you what needed, so on and so forth. But without that person, it would have come back. It doesn't feel the same.
I agree.
That's the issue. So when you look at it, you kind of like, yeah, they do got a point. I can't say New Edition because the way how they kick the bucket among them, but when they're all together, it was like magic. Besides Lincoln, what other musical group that they lost a member and half of them come back? I'm trying to think of.
Metallica.
Metallica is another one. Um,
Again, Metallica lost one because of car accident. Was it? Yeah, I think it was
I
a car
believe
accident.
so. The Beatles.
That's a good example.
I'm trying to think of every music group that was so impactful during that time. When one or two members were gone, it felt empty. You could never come back again. I'm trying to find another one.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I was never a fan of Beatles. I never liked their music.
The Levert. When Joel Levert passed away, it
Hmm.
wasn't the same without. Even though they had a substitute member, but wasn't the same without him. Candy was his. I'm not sure ex-wife or baby mom. I'm not too sure. I'm not sure exactly, but the Levert was iconic. Um, I'm not sure. Is it Earth, Wind, and Fire? I believe so. But they've been torn out to it, but I'm not sure. I'm trying to find another group that I lost a member or two and it wasn't the same like they used to. Hmm. The Temptation, they made a movie based on them. One of the lead artists was plagued with drugs. Something happened to him. And yet they came back, but wasn't the same without him. What another group? I'm trying to think of many iconic groups that was heavy. Let me see. Are they
Oh,
going
here we
too
go.
soon that I still ache over at a lot of the Delaware? Oh, okay. Oh, Soundgarden. Why did you not mention that group, Soundgarden?
They come to my mind.
I was trying to remember that name. Thank you.
Another
It had,
one. There are also other bands that survived the time. Let's be honest. And they got involved with drugs, rehab, and all that stuff. Who's example? Slipknot. Oh, Slipknot. That's another one that came back too.
oh,
And that was
they,
they were the
they,
number one metal band in the
they, they,
world.
they scared the hell out of me because of their outfit and their costume and the mask. I was like,
That's what made them cool. By the way,
it's cool to you, but to me, I was like,
no, back then that was made them cool. I'm saying back then.
I
That's
know
what
it made them
it.
cool, but it scared the hell out of me. I was like, oh, hell no.
But isn't that part of your culture, like the whole voodoo shit like that? Hey, we're talking about serious. We got to crack a joke here and there, bro. Come on.
I know, but even I'm an advocate that I should be thinking that way too. 'Cause I'll be thinking like, did they sign some kind of deal with the devil?
Grab the
That
doll, pinch, poke it.
remember, remember the what that movie? What that character who headed over the thing? Why I forget the
Hey,
name of the thing?
you're getting over. That's why.
No, I'm not getting old. Just I haven't watched that in a while.
So my thing was with these guys too. You can remember there are musicians that come back,
Hmm.
but not much. But my issue with this whole Linkin Park beef now everybody has with them. Oh, how dare they come back? It's a fucking business, you dumb fuck. They have kids to support, families to support. Yeah, they're still making fun of old CDs and stuff like that. But no, they're coming back because they want to come back. It's the perfect time. They found a good person, and then oh my god, don't get me started with she's part of Sign of Technology or this and that. Like, who gives a shit, man? Let her live her life. Let her sing, and that's all I care about. Can she sing? Yeah, that's the only thing I care about. Again, I guess maybe I'm the weird one. All right, let's see what other questions we got here, bro. Because
I'm trying to remember what the character is. A Marvel character of a particular person who had going in flame. He had a motorcycle. What's the name of that character?
Ghost Rider.
Ghost Rider. There you go. It's like how know how Ghost Rider signed a contract with the devil that you have certain
Yeah,
ability, but he didn't realize he didn't read a clause in the contract
contract.
that the devil own your soul, sort of kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
I believe a lot of these artists sign a specific contract without knowing the clause in it.
See, this is where I think you said that because this is a question I was going to ask just now. After we lose a artist, musician, rapper, whatever you want to call them, how does it affect the fans?
Oh boy. Oh boy. Whew. You know, in this country and the UK, we have severe die-hard fan when it comes to music.
I agree.
When I say that's so severe, I remember the poster errors. Remember the poster era? Kurt Cobain from Nevada. Oh yeah, Kurt Cobain, Nevada. That's another group. Thank you. That's
By the way,
another group.
the new Linkin Park CD drops midnight tonight.
Oh, okay, okay.
Just in case anybody want to know.
But no, think about it. Remember the poster era back in the day when you did a particular artist you like, and you would plaster your bedroom with a poster and everything.
Have you seen my background?
I see your background. You have it in frame now.
I always had him in frame.
That's good. There's many other people I remember back in New York City. No one had the money to buy the frame. Ever got the whole entire wall covered with all kind of posters of their favorite artists.
I still like posters. I'm gay like that,
So
I
do
guess.
I.
It was weird.
I like posters, but I like to have that kind of poster that was signed by the artist. You could put in a frame.
Oh yeah, that's different.
But that was a big deal. And thank you for that, Kurt Cobain from Nirvana. That was another group that I liked their music.
So I brought a list up really fast. I want to see who the bands that we lost singers in. Kurt
Hmm.
Cobain, we just said. Brent Noel. Actually, let me share
Hmm.
my screen. Hang on a second.
Don't forget Chris Cornell of Soundgarden.
Okay. So we had Cliff Burfer. I probably if I'm butchering names here.
Uh-oh.
Ran
He doing it, not me.
Randy Rohold. The the Brothers band. I about that time. Mac Ball, Jim Hadnick, Brenny John, Bruce Allen, Ronnie Van Zan, Andrew Flash, Jim Morrison. I hate fucking reading shit out loud. Bob Hole, Jenny Jonas, Santa Hole, Hillary. Oh, this is okay. Svold. Those are the band members that we have lost. It's not
That's
up
a
to
lot of.
date, but that's like the most popular one. So what do you say so
I
far,
mean,
David?
when I look at these lists, you can see based on the picture, someone much older than the present one. But those band got hit hard when those particular members died off. Because back then, when you were making a real music band, it was very important to find the right piece to your band. It was very, very important.
Oh yeah, let's talk about Queen for example.
Oh,
One
let's
of my
know.
favorite bands to this day. I'll be straight up with you. You can't, I don't name another fucking band that's another
The
band,
list, Slovak? Oh, okay.
another band that actually made a song that we still sing and the whole crowd reacts. You know what song I'm going to say, right?
Go ahead.
We will We will.
That's for the Nirvana.
We will rock you. No, it isn't, dumbass.
What is Nirvana? No, what is Nirvana?
Queen.
Who's the Queen? Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. Queen's the whole time.
We will
Yeah.
rock you.
So if you watch the movie, that's what the goal was. They want a song the whole crowd can react.
Hmm. But you
That's the
know,
point.
that became the anthem for basketball games.
And My Ducks, the movie.
Hmm.
They use a lot of their songs in the My Duck movies. But my point is trying to get to, yes, he was whatever he was in his personal life. I don't give a shit what he did in his personal life.
Hmm.
Um, Fun note: one of my coworkers shaved his beard off and left a mustache, and looked just like him too.
Oh Lord.
A Russian have Turkish comes in and like, wow, you look like Queens from there. Like he goes, who's that? I'm like, well, you mean that? Who's that?
You have
So
no
I'm
idea.
like, and when everybody looked at him, I'm like, oh shit,
You should have never said it, because if you said it and everybody caught on, they're like, oh shit, yeah, 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 yeah. They were
yeah,
like, what
everybody
the?
caught on after I said. He's probably watching right now. He's probably like, you
And I'm
fucking
sure he looked.
asshole.
And I'm sure he looked it up. He was like,
I looked it up for him.
oh shit.
He's probably watching right now. He's cursing me out, probably, most likely.
Yeah, he cut it out. And by the time he cut it, he started to sneeze. Achoo! You're like, he really cursed you.
But no, when he sort of like he was, his voice was incredible. Let's be honest.
It was iconic. Not incredible. It was iconic. It was needed at that time.
Oh yeah, and he went way too soon. I think if he was around till, who knows, yeah, he'd be around by now still, right? He'd be still making music. I think. I don't think his solo career he did well. I think it sucked. His solo career sucked completely. Without Queen backing him up, he was nothing. That's my personal opinion. What do you guys say on this, David?
I will agree with you on that, Turf. I will agree with you on that part, because, like I said, there are a lot of iconic groups that made their stamp in the music industry, whereby no one could replace it. But when that particular member of that particular group leave too early, too soon, you can feel the weight afterward. And that group, Queen, I'm not gonna lie, I myself don't like how he lives. None of my business, but he made a lot of. And the concert, it was jam packed. They giving him due. When
The last concert.
When Queen had a concert, when all the members were alive, it was jam packed.
You remember that, don't you?
I was a little kid. I pay attention to a lot of details, and I
Oh, you
realized.
actually remember that? Oh shit! I thought you were too young.
Let me put it like this: as long as you can watch it on TV and see the video, see a VS tape, and hear about certain of these artists, some of the group they know how to pull a crowd.
Queen was one of them. You got Kurt. Where it is? Like
Okay,
Radio Gaga. That's another good song of theirs. That the crowd and reacted. You know when they were going that part. Radio Gaga, Radio La La, and so on. And everybody
what
was
would
singing it.
what would that concert they had that would have all the artists come there and it would be all muddy? What do they call that concert? Did a particular concert almost every year need to go there at one point. I forgot what the name of it.
So Mariana says, don't know too much about this. Maybe you know more about
Axl
Alex
Rose
Rose
and
and
Elton
Elton
John.
John. Go ahead, David. You go finish reading it.
See, Alex Rose and Elton John sing "We Will Rock You" in remembrance of Freddie Mercury of Queen. Yeah, they did that.
I don't remember this.
Yeah, but there's another concert or event they have. I forgot what they call it, but it wasn't. I don't think it was in the East Coast. It was almost a tradition of all the artists to go there, and it was a huge area. And for someone when it rained, it get a little muddy. I forgot the name of that event to call it. If you know order, I think
No,
you know what I'm.
Woodstock.
Woodstock. There you go.
Okay, what about Woodstock? It still
But
goes on to this day. It's not hasn't stopped.
but it was massive when Queen was performing there and a few other group were performing there.
Is it at Woodstock? I didn't know that.
Yeah, it was when I say it was massive.
I gotta look this
Woodst
up now.
I recall they performed there one time before, and many other great group went there. Woodstock was a thing. When I tell you what matter, when they did have Woodstock in the olden days, in the back of the days, it was way bigger than it is now.
So according to this, I just looked up.
Hmm.
Queen was never on Woodstock.
You never?
Never.
I could have sworn I saw a clip of them.
There were other bands like Jim Hendrix, The Who's, and so on that were performed. You're probably thinking somebody else, bro.
Mm. 'Cause I watched so many documentary videos about Woodstock, and I see a lot of groups, and I could have sworn I
They
saw
were
a clip
probably
of them.
invited. I'll give them that, and they probably couldn't work out a schedule thing because they were so busy, always touring around. You never forget,
Maybe
no tours, no money, no money,
it
no
may be so
drugs.
because Woodstock was massive during the earlier days. When I say
Oh
was
god, yeah.
massive, the crowd was. I don't know how they do it, and I believe maybe they were there invited, but there was no slot for them to perform. Maybe that was the case. I might be wrong.
Woodstock still goes around to this day, bro. It hasn't stopped.
No, yeah, didn't stop, but
It's not as big, but they don't do these kind of bands anymore. They're like more like rock bands now than anything.
now I know because back then when Woodstock was a thing, it was like a weekend thing, I believe, right? Or a week
Now
thing
then, back then or now, you mean?
back then. It was a huge event. It was like a musical festival.
I would say it
A
was a
lot.
week long, like Ozfest. I think that was as bad. But let's talk about Woodstock for a second here, dude. Because without Woodstock and how crazy the lifestyle, we got a glimpse in their lifestyle back then.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, you could walk down, anywhere in Woodstock because wasn't Woodstock free technically? If I'm not mistaken, to get in.
I'm not sure it was free, but I will say a lot went down on Woodstock
I'm gonna look it up right now if it was free or not.
because the way Woodstock was set up, people were setting up tent out there. It was really bananas.
It was $24 at the gate to get in.
Now,
No, back then.
$24, but it wasn't much. But it still considered much. But it was a huge ground.
It was a 3-day pass you were getting.
It was a
Now
really big thing.
that $24 average to it was back then was $18 technically,
Mm-hmm.
and that between $18 to $24 it equals to $150 to $200 today's money. So what I want to talk about for a second, like think about it. You're walking down Woodstock, you see Bull Pair or AK Black David, right? Get it on with a woman in a corner over there. Paul, what's going on, my man? Link is in the chat if you want to join us. And you walking down Woodstock, you see this, this honey, Mrs. Bear Paw. You're feeling
You
like
gotta
you're
put me on
smoking
the
your joint.
you gotta put me on the spot.
Hang on, I'm not even done yet. You see, she's checking you out. All of a sudden, you're talking to her. You're a little drunk. All of a sudden, you go look left, look right. You gotta know where to go. Just fuck it. Let's do it right here in front of everybody.
That was Woodstock.
Exactly. That's where I'm going with this. Then the
Well, what?
earthquake happens.
Uh, let's just say Woodstock produced a lot of kids during those days.
You're probably one of them.
I was born in Canada, so the Woodstock was not in Canada. Okay, then.
But you
As
don't
we
know
were
if your
saying,
parents visit Woodstock first and then went back.
they first
Anyway,
came.
my point is
They
trying to
first went
get
to
to this.
Canada first before they came to America. There was no going back. Okay, so don't put me on the spot.
Hang on a second. Let me finish, please. So
I
the
hope Paul Bennett was not in Woodstock either. Cause I'll look at Paul.
I was like
What you
you. I
doing
didn't say
there?
anything about him.
I'm just saying, Paul. If you were there, Paul, I will look at you like, what were you doing in Woodstock?
Our pain probably was there.
Who? RP? Oh, RP have been at every event since Noah Ark.
You know,
Sorry, RP.
next time I'm on a live with him, I'm gonna ask him if he was at Woodstock.
Oh boy. He might deny. I really wasn't there, but I knew somebody wasn't there. Like, you sure you wasn't know what's
No,
up?
he's pretty honest. He
RP.
says shit. I'm like, that's his generation. Don't forget that. But no,
I
let's
know.
really talk about it. You know, how much drugs was going around Woodstock? Not weed only, everything else.
Oh wow.
And how much money the dealers used to make. That's a
And I'm glad we mentioned Woodstock, 'cause that's where I don't know who started with it. Woodstock that started or 354 because it was those area whereby it was open pass. Woodstock 99 was a feeling. Ooh, Woodstock
yeah. That was the
99.
last official public. I don't say public. The last advertised Woodstock went around. Like I said, Woodstock still goes
Mm.
around to this day in the same area, same upstate New York place and everything. The only difference then the Woodstock's the last one that 99 was and everything else was they
Look at Paul Bennett. Oh, he does. Oh boy,
he was there.
you the byproduct.
Shit, he was actually at Woodstock. I didn't know that.
You're the byproduct of
Paul, yeah, get up here. You got to talk about that Woodstock a little bit. Man. You know more about it than anybody.
it.
Uh,
Billy Idol perform at Woodstock. That's another one. Oh, that's another artist.
yeah, but no, hang on.
Wait, what is that Billy Idol? I forgot he had that unique hairstyle, and he was who what he dated or married to? Who was it Iman? Who was married to? Oh, tell me
Uh,
if I'm wrong. I remember Billy Idol. I can't remember what he looked like, but he was married to someone, and he would have had with another iconic art. I'm glad we did mention Billy Idol. I think he left her too soon. Please, anybody already can, what day did he pass away? Please, come on, let me know.
he probably did pass away, dude. I don't see it here anywhere, so I'm
About
looking up
at
right
what
now.
age?
Oh, that's a whole different story now. A whole
Because
different story.
oh, David Bowie's another one. David Bowie's another artist. Yeah,
So hang on, let's talk about this drug dealers at Woodstock for a
I'm
second.
glad. Mr. Better know the infamous Studio 54 opened in 1977. So yeah,
And
that
of course,
was that was from the 70s into the 80s. That was realistically crazy.
so 69 was the first Woodstock, then the studio opened. But
Yeah.
my point is trying to get to you, talk to you for a second here. Is think about how much drugs went on Woodstock. I'm not talking about weed only.
I know you're not talking about weed. I'm talking about hard one, the hard
I'm
line
talking about
one.
heroin. How many needles people fucking shared back then? Imagine how many girls guys shared on top of that.
Oh boy. We entering the Pandora box right now with that one.
No, that is a
No,
factor because
we are entering a Pandora box because I'm glad that someone put the date. Woodstock started first before 354. So Woodstock first created that environment. Yeah, hippies. It had to be the hippies because that's where all those was going on.
I'll agree. I would say hippies and a lot of vets from Vietnam.
Oh
Yeah,
God.
dude, the Vietnam army music was always fucking killer. I always enjoyed that music.
I think you're correct because I remember seeing the uh what's that movie? Tom Hanks acting and what that scene where we went to it was Woodstock. But he girl went to
Oh,
Woodstock.
Forrest Gump.
Forrest Gump. Yeah, with Woodstock. All the Vietnam veterans were showing up at Woodstock too as well.
No, funny story. When I lived in New York, I used to go to one like a local supermarket. I can't remember what it was called. Right? It was a guy always hanging out every time. I remember as a kid, and I asked my mom, like, "What the fuck is?" He had a big gut. He had the vest, the hippie vest, the bandana,
Mm-hmm.
the glasses, the fucking, like, he was super nice guy. Don't get me wrong, but hippie 101. He was like, "Hey, dude," like, "No way, dude." I'm like, "Okay, buddy." Like, I didn't understand. Like, I asked my mom, like, just mind your business, keep going, kid. Just keep going. Don't mind your business. Now I'm older. I look at him, I'm like, that's a fucking hippie. He had a van too. He had a hippie van too.
Mm-hmm. And I have
Who
people
knows?
wouldn't know. And I have people wouldn't know regular hippie van. It was the van for you know what? A lot of magic happened.
How the fuck did we get to whatever? But
It,
no,
no, but think about it.
let's think
No,
about
think about it. Small sidetrack. Because of this Woodstock and the hippie vibe that were going on, a lot of guys were buying the econo van only for one purpose and one purpose only during that era. Maybe this how Mr. Bennett came about with the
oh
hippie van.
shit. Listen, if he kicks your fucking ass, don't blame me because Jersey and
No,
New York is not too far.
I know, but I'm
We
cracking a
have
joke. I'm just
fight
cracking
nights
a
tomorrow
joke.
night. It might be two
But
fights tomorrow night.
no, I'm cracking a joke because even Mr. Bennett know this. The econo van was huge market sale. I don't know how that car lived to this day. There's a lot of those cars all over the place back then. So
Like I said,
when you say that man who had he had a hippie van and with the econo van, you gotta ask the question, what made it so popular to buy? Who marketed it? And how is it the go-to car or van for a guy to buy?
bro, when I worked at one of these bars, local bar, Poker and Brewing Company.
Hmm.
Don't ever go there, by the way. Anyway, who listens to this? It was two girls that I worked with. They were hippies, 101 hippies. They traveled all over the world. They stayed at one location for a couple months
Hmm.
and move on to the next one. When I say hippies 101, I mean hippies. They were like chill, dude, and all that stuff. And I'm like, they don't even shave their armpits. That's how bad it was.
Oh God.
When your type of girls,
Don't remind me about that part.
yeah. But don't forget, tomorrow's fight night, bro. You might be at a second fight tomorrow night. Maybe Tyson
Oh, you
versus
mean
Paul Jake, and then you and Paul.
I'm watching Netflix. I think my next week we should talk about it next week. Like what really went down.
Let me see what I have scheduled next week. I can move things around.
We
Let me
need to
see the schedule.
have we need I hate to say it, Mandrell, Uncle Ricky. We will need your expertise up in here and Mr. Paul
So
Better about
we
tomorrow
can a
fight.
little bit we can talk about a little bit in it because we're talking about Vince McMahon's documentary next week.
Oh yeah, I watched it. It's oh man. I'm not gonna
So
lie. I watched it extensively and I I got triggered. I really
okay,
got triggered. We can't do it all at once. We need to do a few episodes of that Vince McMahon
the reason I'm
documentary.
worried about doing a show about boxing. Last time we did a boxing show, one, reviews wasn't the greatest for me, and two, everybody who says they're going to show up never showed up except you and
You're right.
Paul.
I know. You're right. I think let's see if you can get somebody more besides me and Paul is a boxing expert in a way. Then we need a different view from Mandrell and Uncle Rick. I hope you guys watch the fight tomorrow so we can use got insight. I hope
I'm
you
not gonna
guys
lie
do.
to you, bro. Like
I'm gonna watch it
I
tomorrow, but I
it's
hope
11
Paul Bennett
o'clock
was.
Texas time. They're an hour ahead of us, right?
Yeah.
So that means 12 o'clock midnight here, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Is anybody fighting, or that's only those two guys fighting?
Oh, Bilal is still alive? I thought he passed away.
No, he died. I mentioned it before.
No, he's still alive at 68. He survived and almost died from a drug overdose. He had a wake up call. So with David Bowie that passed away then. That's what I'm referring to. He gone too soon. You know,
Uh,
won't you forget about me? And that's the song he sang, if I'm correct.
I think so.
Here's him or Billy Idol who sang that song. One of them did. It was the theme song for the Breakfast Club movie. Remember?
They made a movie about that shit? Oh yeah, they did. You're right.
Like I said, I'm trying to connect the dot. Can you highlight the last comment? The latest one? Ghost. Can you highlight the last comment right there? I thought you would say the kid. Lamb? God damn. You make it sound like he's Abraham to slaughter an
So I
offering.
just went back 5 months in my videos, my archive, right? When
Mm-hmm.
we did a show about Jake Paul and Tyson,
Mm-hmm.
was 5 months ago. Paul showed up. I think you did too. I'm going through it really fast. I'm skimming through it.
Oh, Billy was offered a song, but Simple Mind did it?
Okay, so like I said,
Really?
Paul showed up. You didn't show up that day. Fuck you for that.
Ooh.
Um, yeah, I'm calling your ass out on that one.
I'm probably.
Paul showed up and Housewife showed up for the and the. Well, I remember Housewife saying, "Oh, she's giving it to Tyson. Is going to win that fight." And then the fight got scrapped for I don't remember what reason it was fight.
And it got scrapped. It got postponed due to medical scale
Yeah.
on his
So
part.
if you really guys want to do it, I'll do another one. I have no
I'm going.
problem doing it.
I'm going to read the aftermath of what really happened.
Okay,
I'm
I'll
going to
put it
watch
this
it
way.
tomorrow.
Oh wait, time out. All right. Guys, give me a one if you guys want me to do a reaction show this week. Give me a two if you don't in the chats. If I get more ones, I'll change the topic tomorrow for this week, and I'll push it down. I have no problem doing that, and you know I will.
Because I myself want to see what really happened, what went down. Because
But
I
if the ones win, your job is get a Mandura on this fucking thing.
gotta call him.
You
Oh
fucking eat her out.
wow!
Yeah.
Really?
Dude, did you see the
Oh my
waiting?
god!
I watched the waiting. Paul, get your ass up here. This is your fucking
Really?
turf.
You gotta go
The
that far? Really? You gotta
wait,
go
wait,
that?
wait. The waiting. Oh my god. No, I don't like how he reacted on the waiting. He acted like a little fucking bitch Tyson. He comes up to him. I thought this is gonna square off, right? As he's gonna go up to him. As he go, cause I go, he slaps him like a bitch slap. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me?
Might try to bitch slap him.
Yeah.
Uh,
Paul could have literally go after him and just ripped his fucking
no.
head off right there. But
He's
he did it.
answering the.
He actually he's chilled. Then let him take him. They questioned him first. Not watching the fight.
Oh, come on, Paul. You need to watch it. I know. I understand why Paul don't want to watch it, but I would say watch it for intellectual purpose.
I'm watching it.
Because
I'm
no,
curious what's gonna happen.
I understand why Paul doing it because he's not the only one. There are a lot of other physical no physical therapy expert, medical expert who are fan of Mike Tyson. Find that it's more a disgrace for him to do such a thing. But Mike Tyson have his own personal reason why, because he feel like this dude is making a mockery of the sport that he grew up and loved, that he put his whole life into this. You get what
So
I'm
here's
saying?
my thing. Here's my thing about this fight. King Smith, very good friend, one of my best friends. Friend of the channel and everything, right?
Hmm.
King Smith has posted here. Let me go to his Facebook for a second because he posted something that I actually want to read out loud. It's actually about the fight, and he has a very very good point here. Oh, here it is.
Okay, read it out so I can hear.
I'm gonna get to his post. Give me 1 second.
I know I would concern myself because I was asking myself a lot of questions. Why would Mike Tyson do it? What was the main purpose behind it? And the first thing came to my mind, he feel like nobody wanted to step up from his background inbox to put the guy in his place because he felt like these YouTubers are coming into a lane and actually disrespecting it in a way they should never be disrespected to begin with. And I totally agree with the logic behind that. Because I didn't want Mike Tyson to step up. There's many other heavyweight boxer that should have stepped up, like Anthony Joshua, who gave my boy a history a teaching lesson, even though he lost Ngannou. He's an MMA fighter, which is understandable. Why someone like Anthony Joshua or somebody else who is still active in boxing to come in and get a guy a wake up call?
Okay, so I apologize. It wasn't King Smith's post on his face on Facebook. It was the Sports Bar, his the show he runs on Sundays.
Okay.
He says, uh, Tyson versus Paul fight won't be entertainment. They are friends and business partners. It's not a real battle. I'm skipping it. It's not worth my time and effort. I added my own little twist to
I
that though.
wouldn't say they're business partner per se, but to me, the Logan brother has been somewhat disrespectful in many ways, in my
Hang on a
point of
second.
view.
Hang on a second. Hang on a second.
Hey, Mr. Paul Bennett,
What's good, gentlemen?
I know you've been busy.
Barry.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome the president to be elected.
The president elected and president forever.
All right, Paul. Floor is yours. Go for it.
On what?
You want to talk about the fight, or you want to talk about the original topic?
Fight I'm not
Here's one.
watching. Listen, I am to say I'm a fan of boxing is an understatement. And I have not enjoyed any of these quasi fights, these exhibition fights. I've never been a fan. Going back to Muhammad Ali, getting in the ring with Gorilla Monsoon, or getting in the ring with Antonio Inoki. I don't think, or fighting Lyle Alzado, the football player. I just treat the sport very seriously, and I think
You
there's so
should.
many good fights that can be made out there. And I think what the Pauls are doing, what Floyd and Conor McGregor did, I think it cheapens the sport, and I just don't, just out of principle. I didn't like when Tyson fought Roy Jones, even though I could say, at least I could say with that was like a glorified sparring session, because you could tell neither of those guys wanted to hurt. I mean, Tyson didn't want to hurt Roy. I mean, that was obvious that
He was,
if
he was
Tyson
trying to
wanted to go,
he was
if
trying to
Tyson
invent
wanted
the
to
whole
hurt
match.
Roy, he would have. So, for all those reasons, I'm not a fan of the stage. I think it comes from UFC. I think, that's why one of the reasons I hate UFC. I think that the product that Dana White and whatnot, it's popcorn and it's bubblegum. It's not substantive. And I think even though there's some great athletes in UFC, I just think that this model of marketing and selling hype over guys who pay their dues to get to the points where they're at. I hated what he did with Brock Lesnar in UFC. So again, I just think that the model is just it's just bad for combo, bad sports. These guys put their lives on the lines and whatnot, and I think they deserve better. They deserve better pay there, and so I'm not a fan of UFC for that reason. And again, these exhibitions, what the Paul brothers are doing, fighting guys that had no business fighting. I mean, that guy Robson could have got killed. The basketball player could have got killed in there. I mean, these guys are taking real blows to the head. Mike Tyson's 58 years old. I don't care how good you can look on mitts. I can go downstairs in my basement right now. I think I look pretty good on a speed bag. Anybody can look good punching a bag or something that doesn't hit back at them. But there's no reason a 58-year-old man should be taking blows to the head. And so I just think that it's just wrong. It's not even a real fight. It's 8 2-minute rounds wearing 14-ounce gloves. Now, that's not to say that you can't get hurt with 14-ounce gloves, but there's only so far I can look at this as a legitimate contest. And even if it's free on Netflix, I may watch a highlight or something later on. But I just think that the boxing public needs to demand better from boxing. And when you let these sideshows and these freaks go on, that guy Ngannou had no business fighting. He got nearly, he could have got brain damage from fighting a guy who, certainly gets knocked out himself. But the fact that he fought Anthony Joshua and literally almost got himself killed in there, that was a devastating knockout that he took in that fight. He had no business being in there. Whoever said that you fight all that time, again, MMA fighting, striking is not the same as boxing. It's not.
Two different things. Two different things.
The punches are different. The leverages are different. The setups are different and whatnot.
And the gloves are
They're
different
two
also.
different sports.
And
So
the gloves
when
are
I hear a
different.
striker in MMA, that means he's a lousy boxer. It's not even close. So again, I'm just not a fan of these crossover events. I know people want to pay for it. They want a sideshow. But again, boxing to me is as dangerous a sport as it is. I think that we just deserve better. So just out of principle, I'm
Some
not
people are
watching it.
saying, Paul.
Yeah.
Some people are saying Peter Magnano. I might pronounce that wrong. That was the last good fight Tyson had.
Well, no, I wouldn't say that. I mean, that was his first fight out of prison. Then he fought. Then he fought Frank Bruno for the championship. He beat Bruno. Then he beat Bruce Sheldon to get 2 unified belts. Then he fought Holyfield, and then everything kind of sort of down spiraled from there. So I think I'm not going to count the Peter McNeely fight, but again, the guy was a club fighter, right? I mean, the guy was basically he might have been in the 6-round bar fights or whatever, like Butterbean or something like that. I mean, he wasn't that good of a fighter. And so, but again, coming out of prison after 3 years or whatever, then yeah, I mean, they obviously they need to serve someone up that wouldn't be that competitive. But even then, Tyson wasn't the same fighter after when he came out of prison, not even close. And so, definitely, I like I said, I'm just not a fan. Don't want to see it. Don't want to see him get hurt. And I just think that because even Tyson, when he was at his apex, if you get past like the 5th round, it was a 50-50 fight. Tyson, he was certainly, spend his energy in the first 3 rounds trying to knock you out of there. So again, Paul, he can go around for the first 5-6 rounds with a 58-year-old, and Tyson may be too tired to defend himself or whatever. So, like I said, it's just not shaping up to be a good contest. I don't want to see it. Again, most of this is being driven by the casuals. We had a sports show on Wednesday, and they were talking about. I mean, I don't think there's a ton of interest in this fight because again, guys who live in that area on a one-on-one sports show on the BMU network, we were talking about you could get tickets for like $60.
That's it.
So it's not like it's going to be. They're not selling out AT&T Stadium.
And not selling out. I agree with you, but let me speak on what you just said earlier. I did have the same sentiment that you have with UFC or how they cheapen the whole industry or MMA. But I also know very well there are very few artists in the MMA arena who also had a boxing background. Israel Adesanya is one of them, and to the Spider Series another one. Because they both did boxing before they got into MMA too as well. And the Spider Series was an amateur boxer and was very good before he transitioned to MMA. At the time, they boxed too before he got into kickboxing, before he got into the UFC. The only promoter I think that have more respect for MMA properly well is the one
And that's a new coming. It's been coming up lately. There's a newer
I've been
thing.
coming up lately because the person who run it is the actual martial art and he have respect for the art. What Dana White did, even though he regulated, he made it whereby the fighter are not get paid a proper payday. Without what the main Adrian Garno and many people were complaining about. Because they were saying if you don't like the pay, then get endorsement. Not everybody can get endorsement. Not every fighter are marketable to get endorsement. That was the
That's
thing.
a good
And
point too.
I understand what Mr. Paul Bennett was talking about. That is why they have been incorporating a lot of boxing coach since then on the MMA because some people don't have proper boxing skills.
But even then, it's not just about what you're taught in the ring.
And you're correct. And you're correct.
Guys who are legit boxers, they've been boxing since like age 5, 10, 12 years old.
And you're correct.
They went through the amateurs. They went through a high level competition. You know what I mean? They won Golden Gloves. They won Olympic trials or whatnot. And they had, again, a long career. Usually for a boxer, you're going to fight 10, 15, 20 times before you even considered in a ranked to earn a title. So, again, there's dues to be paid in boxing that a lot of these guys, even if they had amateur boxing backgrounds, it's not the same thing. If you're not with it for a while, you're not going to be good at it. And it proved in the ring. It proved when these guys came out. You can't just turn that switch on.
And I agree with you because Boxing and mixed martial art have a long history rivalry going way back because there was something that had been pushed upon for age long before UFC. Because we think about history, the younger generation of boxing were coming from the Europe were coming to Asia to make Asia and make martial look like was nothing. So that have been and that's why we have gone way back ever since. But what I agree with Mr. Bennett was trying to say, mixed martial art is not the same as boxing. It's a different fundamental.
No.
It's a different principle. I totally agree with you. I'm
Yeah.
not gonna
The only
argue.
guy I ever knew in history that actually tried to make a go at this, and it wasn't MMA yet. This was a guy named Troy Dorsey. He was a
I heard of.
boxer and he was a kickboxer. So when you
I
had
heard of him.
PKA, he was like, he could go, he would box literally 1 month and then kickbox in the next. But even if you looked at PKA and you looked at the way those guys fought, those guys had boxing backgrounds.
You
Because you
could
could
tell.
tell just the way they move, how they, I mean, those guys went in there, they had real boxing skills. The only thing they added was the kicking ability to it. But for a lot of these MMA guys, jiu-jitsu is not meant for boxing.
You're right.
Wrestlers, I mean, again, they're not boxers.
They will never be. I'm sorry. They'll never
So
be.
yeah. So I I'm like I said, I'm pretty stickler. I like stay in your lane.
And,
Is my thing. Because again, that Ngannou knockout was enough to tell me right there that, you know what, you don't belong. All that hype with Fury. Fury was coming off of a long layoff and whatnot. I don't think he took it seriously, or
no,
whatever. And
no,
yeah, he kind
no,
of
he
looked. They
did
made
not.
him kind of
No,
look better than he was.
no, he did not take it away with Ngannou. That's number one. And two, Ngannou didn't have more than enough time to train with Mike Tyson to fully grasp it. Even I
But
was
it's
in it
again,
myself.
you're not gonna get that in a few months.
No,
That's my point.
and I'm very aware of that. I mean, I practice mixed martial art, and I know it very, very well. A few months is never enough. It's not.
It's years. It is years. I mean, Tyson used to talk about he could tell what punch that you were going to throw based on the muscle in your shoulder twitching. He knew the
Bingo,
punch was coming.
bingo. They're the fundamental.
Those are things you cannot get just from hitting some mitts and sparring for a few
And I'm
months. It
glad
just
you
doesn't
mentioned that
happen.
because what you just spoke on, they're the boxing philosophy and fundamental that people need to understand. The thing applied to martial art. Even I have got into martial art at a younger age in junior high school. Even I understand there's a ton of fundamental you can tell what somebody going to kick you or punch you based on a
Right.
subtle movement. And when I was trying to explain to people, a lot of these people got into MMA are not really actual martial artists to begin with. And I hate to say that. I'll be honest with you, Mr. Bennett. The real actual martial artist was not even allowed to get into UFC for a specific reason.
Well, first of all, those guys can't look. Just call me controversial for this. Most martial artists can't fight.
No, most of the people who claim to be martial artists are not really
They
actual martial artists.
They can't
Ghost
fight.
of Sparta, no, Ghost
You
of Sparta
sure
will
about
tell
that?
you this. No, Ghost of Sparta, no,
Yeah,
Ghost of
I'll
Sparta,
stand by that.
Ghost of
I'll
Sparta.
stand by that.
Agree with me when I say this. You ask some of these martial artists who got into UFC, whatever actor, what discipline they are part of, they can't even tell you.
Look,
Lochita was one. I'm trying to figure out how he slipped in.
yeah,
He was from a particular discipline, but he held back too much. I could tell.
yeah, but I mean,
Me and Ghost and Lochita are from the same discipline, karate.
I got you.
Lochita is from a karate discipline, but I can tell he held back a lot in UFC. He did because he didn't show his full potential due to the rules, what it allowed, not allowed.
So, Paul, I'm going to push back on that comment you just made. Martial arts can't fight because I'm a proven living to that. When I used to compete, it was a whole different game back then. We didn't wear gloves like they do now or wear all this headgear. You put a mouthpiece, wrap your hands, and put a cup on. That's it. Back in the day.
Full contact.
So when I hear people say, you're not the first one, and I know you're not doing that at spike or anything like that, but people say, oh, martial arts can't fight. Okay. When I break your fucking arm in 5 different places, then you can talk to me.
Again, against an untrained person, yeah, but even still, look, even when you spar with somebody, you kind of have the advantage in that you're going in against a guy who you kind of know already.
Mm-hmm.
If you're in a karate tournament, you're going against a karate fighter most of the time. You're not going against a Wing Chun guy. You're not going in against a jiu-jitsu guy. You're not going in necessarily against a wrestler. So again, you already have that advantage in that you have some ideas. If you're in a sanctioned tournament, there's certain things you can do, and there's certain things you cannot do. When I say fight, I'm talking about. Hang on. When I'm talking about fighting, I'm talking about like a real combat situation. I'm not talking about a sanctioned event or sparring. I'm saying if you get out on the street. Now, I'm not saying you or David for that matter. I'm saying when you're in a situation when the guy's like, look, I may not know karate, but I know crazy. Right?
And Mr. Ben talking to a lot of these MMA fighters cannot fight in real life. They got in for the sport of it, but they don't have the discipline.
I'm saying martial arts in general. I don't know if you can know Hapkido, you can know Judo, you can know Wing Chun, you can know all that stuff.
So here's my pushback now. All right. So the tournaments I competed was a mixed martial arts tournament. You don't know what you're walking into. So that's one. Two, now on the street, you're right. You know, it's different. But MMA fighters cannot fight. I don't give a shit what anybody says. If you're trained MMA, you're a fucking idiot. Because they don't know. They're going to go to rules. When it comes to street, I'm going for your eyes, I'm going for your groin, and I'm going for your fucking legs. Then I'm going to bash your fucking head in the ground till you're bleeding and your brains are popping fucking out. And then I can walk away and piss on your corpse.
That has nothing to do with the martial arts discipline that you practice,
oh, I know.
Does it?
You're 100% right.
You're right.
But
and that's my point. That's my point. I'm not saying that, look, if you don't have the fighting spirit, if you're not willing to go there like you just said, that's not going to help you when you're in the street. I'm saying a guy, you can earn a black belt doing everything except
okay, now
fight.
that makes more sense to me. Now
that's
I agree
what I'm saying. I'm not saying that, guys, especially now MMA, I would say in that they say the best skills if you're in the street, right? What's the best martial art that you can have if you're in the street? One, they say the first one I always heard, wrestling, because again, most fights happen on the ground.
And
so you got to get a guy on the ground. So if you can wrestle, you got a shot in the street. And the second would be boxing, because boxing is about, again, the distance and whatnot, keeping your distance and whatnot from a guy. If an MMA guy came up with a wrestling background and he's had a boxing background, now if you want to put some jiu-jitsu in there, whatever, he's gonna have a chance in the street.
He will.
So
I spoke about it several times because it's all based on the discipline. Shout out to Manjo. Manjo said he started from karate and got into boxing. He was close to being a Golden Glove, and he competed in that arena. He got into that, and he learned the discipline. And right after that, he went into jiu-jitsu, and that's where he is right now. So he had 3 disciplines. And it's not so simple to jump to different disciplines, because every discipline have a fundamental rule you have to follow. And Manjo did say that himself. MMA fighters don't have that discipline. A lot of people going in for the money don't have the discipline to get into it. You get what I'm saying? But there are old school people who got into different kind of martial art to learn the discipline to perfect their fighting skills, either in the ring or outside. Today, MMA fighter, I can almost tell a cookie cutter. Because I've been studying UFC for many years, and I could call it out. They're not really fighter. They don't know how to think. I don't want to say ultra instinct, but don't know how to think off the fly, how to catch one off guard, because you can tell how they fight. If you go fight
hang on, Tell me out a second. Okay. So the thing you were saying before, Paul, I agree, but here's one of my little pushback here. Not bad, good on your side pushback. When it comes to judo, I think it's the most hardest thing ever. If you're gonna try to grab something and throw them at your first technique, fuck that. The only time I use judo is when it comes to joint locks. 1, 2, with the UFC stuff. You know how many times I saw a UFC fight, McGregor, whatever the Irish punk ass bitch name is, I see him fight and I go, why didn't you do this instead? It makes more sense. Why don't you do this instead? He's like, it's stupid sometimes. That's why I don't even bother watching UFC. I prefer watching Bellator a little better, or one, because to me that's more. It's not as rehearsed. I feel it's rehearsed. I mean, I said it before. I think UFC is scripted. I think it's like that's why they own WWE now too. They know the outcome already. So that's my pushback. And like again, I'm not saying they're not fighters, but Brock
A lot of
Lesnar, great example. That guy, he can't fucking, he's a goof in the end of the day.
he only got a veteran background, but he have not done a lot in boxing, and MMA is not for him. I can tell he was almost rigid. Somehow
Bro,
he
he fucking
survived it.
won his first fight.
Yeah,
No, he
because he had a,
didn't.
He
No,
did.
he
I thought he
didn't. He
did.
lost his first. He got
oh no, he
caught in
lost.
an
No,
ankle lock or
yeah,
whatever. The guy,
he got caught. Yeah, he did lost his one with
yeah,
Frank Mir.
yeah.
That gave him
Was it the
his
second
first
one he
loss,
won?
Second
and
one he won. Yeah.
Okay.
he came back with a vengeance. He said, "Nah, I'm gonna make you pay for that." Because he didn't
Wait a
like
minute.
how
The
he
second
lost.
fight was a title fight. He won the title in the second fight, right?
No, the first fight he lost to Frank
Correct.
Mir.
And then the second
Second
one, I
fight
think that was for
with
the title.
no, it wasn't another guy called Herring that he punched the guy so hard he rolled almost 2 times backward. After a few more fights, he fight with Randy Couture and won the belt from him.
Listen, I'm not gonna say he's not strong. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying he doesn't have a good ground game. I don't think Brock Lesnar is a fucking fighter. I think he's a moron.
And he's
I'll
got
tell
no
his fucking
wins. I
face.
mean, you get past the second round, he's gassed.
Yeah, he is. Plus, he had a bad diet.
He was always a big boy. But here's the thing: this is what we're all professional fighters are wrong. If you're gonna fight for 8-minute rounds, right? Why train for 8 minutes? Why don't you train for 15-minute rounds so you don't get gassed out?
That was Pride PC.
That's
Pride
how I
PC
used to train.
Pride PC was set up that way, whereby if you can last the first 15 rounds, the many rounds, you are nobody. And
That's
even
my
before
point.
Pride PC, when they had a movie called Blood based on Frank Dukes, that underground dojo commentator they were doing was people from different walks of life in martial arts were testing the kids to see who their ultimate fighter, and that was a bloodbath. Let's be real, because you have to prove what the discipline you're part of, and prove that you really represent that. And when they get into that little sport, yeah, it was underground. The government knew what was going on, and they kept it hush shut because they know you have people high placed who invest in that type of sport. Jimi Hendrix, another person, but either way, the point do have a lot of the keyword MMA fighters. They're not martial artists. Real martial artists are disciplined. MMA fighter are a bunch of cookie cutter fighters, cookie cutter guys who are trained to fight according to the UFC regulation. They don't
That's
have
the
an
difference.
actual
If you say
discipline.
a martial art, that's the difference between a martial arter and a
A
karate
martial artist
guy.
and the
Yeah,
MMA.
yeah, that's the difference. You have to break it out into different divisions. I'm actually going to do a show on that. How to
Well,
break.
I would say for me it really doesn't matter because again, if your martial art is something where again you're only going against guys within your martial art, like you can look real good, like you could be like a Wing Chun guy, you can do your hand trapping and everything with the Wing Chun guy. Is that going to work in the street? I don't know.
Here's the
So
problem.
that's why the mixed martial art tournament was so important back in the day. It was
Back in the day, make martial art tournament, what in MMA was actually testing how much practitioner you are
exactly.
and what
So
that was the
you could have.
difference.
It was literally that you put your names in a big basket. They rotate it and they grab it, and you might be fighting a boxing guy. You might be fighting even a wrestler guy can come in and compete in that tournament. And
Hmm.
like when they might laugh at you, because like you have no chance. But I seen literally wrestlers get to the next round, like holy shit, the fucker did it. Like I seen boxer guys literally knock out, Tai Chi guys. I see Tai Chi
And
guys knock out boxer guys. I
it's
seen
every
all
round.
different guys. That's
It's
why
always
makes
based
martial
on the
was such a
practitioner,
good
how
tournament.
smart you are, or using the skill that you have learned. Those were the real mixed martial art tournament, but those mostly underground. That's what you see today. The one you see today, it have been watered down in UFC. One promotion put back the respect in it. That's why you got so many MMA fighters who are really actual fighters from UFC transition over there. Because they realize there's more of a respect for the art. Then UFC, Dana White just made a mockery of it.
So
And
it
plus,
was a movie called The Fighter. You guys remember that movie, in chance?
I heard about that one.
It's
That
with
one guy, that one guy who was AWOL from the military, and he came in and he was whooping. No, that's not the
no,
fighter.
no, he was a homeless guy. Not homeless guy. He was like not homeless. He didn't have a job. He was selling like stuff out of a suitcase kind of thing, but he was a good fighter. What's his shit? His name, the actor's name. He played in GI Joe. The first one. Here I'll tell you right now. It was also a White House Down.
Oh, I see you say the fighter. Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah,
You know what I'm talking about. You remember the name of the actor in chance before I look it up?
I remember in 2010, 20-minute action movies.
Hang on, I gotta look it up right now. Joe.
I've been
Boom,
taking
right
this
here.
for another one. No, another one that's almost similar to that.
Right, so call right here.
Now, listen, guys, I can't stay very long. I know you guys were
We're about to
initially
end it right
talking
now.
about the
Music
about the
Guns N'
artists,
Mhm.
about why the artist died so
Here you
young.
go, Paul. Take the floor for a second. We're gonna close out with you.
Yeah, so I wasn't sure if you want commentary on that. Again, to me it's almost like it's a it's like I said, it's a double-edged sword. I mean, these folks have been so talented, but it's almost like with that, but that a lot of that talent is forged out of a lot of dysfunction. Like a lot of these folks have been blessed with a gift that nobody around them had. A lot of people didn't even understand. And certainly they were, it was utilized, or if it was used, but they weren't necessarily prepared for life. And so, for a lot of these artists, I mean, I don't care if it's Michael Jackson, if it's Prince, Whitney Houston. I mean, these were, such legendary artists and people with just gifts that, that nobody in the world had. Like Michael Jackson, as far as, people debate whether Prince or Michael Jackson, Prince might have been a better artist or a better musician, but Michael as an artist, to this day, I haven't seen anyone who's had the impact on the world that he had. But again, he lived a very sheltered life, and sometimes just, the way things are, you almost have to be, because, you can't live a normal life. And so just because you have the talent to do something doesn't mean that necessarily going to prepare you for life. So for a lot of these people, the stories are the same, whether it be drugs or alcohol or women or just everything gets thrown at you. A lot of times you're just not ready for that. So again, very tragic when you have these literally shooting stars who die way too early. It's a very tragic thing, but I don't, for a lot, it's not meant to be. I mean, there's only a few people who've gone the distance, regardless if it's singing or acting. Like, there's very few people like Denzel. You know what I mean? Who kind of, was well, or Clint Eastwood for that matter, who acted well into his 90s, and still for a long time was on top as a artist, as a director or actor. It's very rare when you have those kind of individuals who can also reinvent themselves over the years and evolve with the times. Women, I think, have it even harder when it comes to how do you keep I mean, Cher, she reinvented herself over so many decades and whatnot, but that's rare. You have your shooting star, and then you're gone. Maybe Beyonce, maybe she might be able to, be relevant for a few more years to come. Seems like she's always kind of reinventing herself a little bit, but it's hard. But even in her case, I mean, she came from at least a stable family background. I didn't see or hear about too much trauma that she had. I know her parents had split, but it wasn't like it was like a traumatic experience. She seemed to be a relatively grounded person. But folks like Michael, Prince, or whatever, they come from backgrounds that are just like very difficult. And lastly, again, a lot of the times that they came up in, I think, took a toll on these guys. I mean, again, these folks were born in the 50s, some of them in the 60s, and just with the whole social dynamic. I mean, these guys and women broke so many barriers as far as what was acceptable to now. It's like their stuff is tame compared to what some of the content that's out there now. But imagine back then when when they were coming out and people were critical, talking about their music was evil, their music was this or that, it was devil music, and all the things that these folks had to kind of overcome. And just to be able to give to the world a different way of thinking, a different way of performing and expressing yourself. That it came at a cost. And I think that for people like that, again, those savants, musical savants, acting savants, any kind of creatives, unfortunately, again, they tend to not, they tend to not go the distance. And it definitely asks the question, well, what would you rather have? Would you rather live an ordinary life to a long age, or would you rather live a shorter life, knowing that whatever you do could potentially change the world? And I think there's a lot of people out there who would probably pick the latter, because to them it's more important to be useful rather than just to exist. And most people exist, but every once in a while you have those individuals who oftentimes hated in their time, not loved in their time, but then they get appreciated later on. So yeah, I mean, these folks, um I think their rebel nature, their radical revolutionary nature, certainly in the times that they were operating in, they were able to break through. But again, it came at a cost, and I think that's ultimately what did those persons in. And but nevertheless, though, these people again are inspiring, and they really helped, I think, in many ways advance humanity forward. But again, just like anything, it's going to be done. Um, it's going to be done, painfully and slowly sometimes. And sometimes there's a retraction. Some people are going to say, "Whoa, whoa, things are changing too fast. Slow it down." But I can't imagine, a world without, again, those artists that came out in the '60s, '70s, and '80s, the rap music, what these folks gave to the world. And yeah, shout out to Quincy Jones. He was there for a lot of it. I mean, Quincy knew. I think he knew Elvis. He knew a lot of these a lot of these artists. He was right there for a lot of this stuff. But even still, I think with Quincy, just like Clive Davis and a lot of these other, other producers, he was still kind of in the background. You know what I mean? Like he wasn't like out in front to say, okay, Quincy's the guy. He wasn't out there performing. He was mostly kind of in the studio producing. And I think maybe that's a bit less stressful than having to you go out there yourself and you got fans and girls trying to get at you and tear your clothes off and all that kind of stuff. So maybe look, producing, as great as he was, that to me, that's a different animal. He made guys like Michael and all those artists look their best and to be the best versions of themselves. And I think that certainly that's a different skill set than when all the cameras and attentions are on you. You know, and again, some people just like being in the credits, but I never heard Quincy Jones sing a song ever. But I think he helped write songs, and I think he helped arrange songs that brought out the best in other people. So yeah, definitely shout out to Quincy Jones for a long life, and the contributions that he's made to these folks who again didn't come from the best places, but you know he made them produce some very meaningful and substantive music, and again gave it to the world. So shout out to him.
Oh man, that right there, I gotta give it to Bitter Paul Bennett. He said a mouth. He said a masterful because I will put out names: Jim Hendrick, Jim Morrison, Jonah Baker, Michael Hughes, and there's many others out there who musical is iconic. I do have an issue with Beyonce. I believe she stole certain song or certain style from other artists who career did not go further, who was way better than Beyonce by far. But that'll be another conversation in itself. But I'll be willing to do real with you. Paul Bennett hit it real hard. There are a lot of the artists who left the earth too soon because of their talent was built and the gift was built in chaos, which is totally correct. I kind of believe without that chaos, their song would have been so impactful after that. When we mentioned DMX, perfect example, who when I recognized that he was going through something, and there's many other artists who fit the tape as well, whereby their song hit. When I say it hit your core, hit your soul, you can almost feel like they really actually talking to you through the lyrics, like you having a like you almost like you feel like you know the person. Those type of artists are hard to find these days now because those one was working, building that craft in that environment. Many of would not even try to do it in the begin with. Jimi Hendrix, another great artist. I think one of the best guitar player ever that walked this earth. To be honest with you, he was very special. Rick James, another one who got great promise to be one of the greatest musicians, but you
And
know,
to this day, David, a lot of people laugh when I say this. I think Rick James has one of the greatest. When you talk about top, he's on my Mount Rushmore of male vocalists.
I believe you.
People talk about Luther and they talk about some of those guys, but you just listen to Fire and Desire. The guy could blow.
I believe no. I totally believe you. Even I was saying that something was wrong. The guy served the military, I believe. Am I correct? Rick James was a
I
part
think,
of the military,
yeah.
and whatever he saw made him not want to be a part. And his music is coming from his grief. Something about him that made him switch and got into what he got himself into. Same thing with Jimi Hendrix and many others as well. It's almost like the unique talent had to grow to reach their peak through a organized or sort of a chaos that will allow them to flow where they're supposed to flow, but there's a side effect that come along with it. And when you mentioned that question, either to live a short life or impactful, or live a long life, or just exist. Man, when you said it that way, that hit a chord. I was like, man, I'm not sure you want to ask yourself that question growing up because the way society is right now, it's almost like you want to take that choice, which I would not take. But these artists were so fundamentally sound that they left their mark in history that you cannot replace nor remove. But we totally could. And those whose career got cut short due to record label backhanded tactics, stealing their sound or their style, give it to somebody else to live it out. At least they're still alive. They didn't lose their life yet, but they realize there's no point going chasing that career anymore. The way I give respect to all the independent artists that are out here today who are not letting nobody steal their craft, nor their style, nor their sound. They keep it to themselves. I respect them for that. But to what you were talking about today, it's hard not to agree with the Paul Ben when they say a lot of these great, impactful artists had to go to some kind of level of chaos to produce great music. Even I believe Prince is a better musician than Michael Jackson by far. The guy was too damn gifted. He can play almost any single instrument and let you know what key, what note to play to get the right tone to that particular music you're writing. That's how gifted. And Rick James was no different either. If you ask me, because that dude helped Eddie Murphy get his singing craft on point. Eddie Murphy admitted it. Rick James, it's a monster himself, but his lifestyle cut him off short. Man, I would love to get back to that topic. Let's do it for each genre one by one and talk about different artists in particular genre because this is not something that you should overlook or just do one episode. Maybe later on when we have time to speak on it more, we can dissect each one and see who had the influence of the person craft to be in perfection or who the reason why the person got cut short because this is not a simple topic. This is not. It is not. Yeah, you're correct. To borrow a quote from Blade Runner, the life that burned twice as bright lasts half as long. That is correct. it fit the tone, but damn. I don't know how you could dress this one up, but that is my final thought because I didn't want to get to this topic, but we had to go back deep, deep, deep. We had to look at it in a different light. Like, damn, if only they would have stayed a little longer. That's my final thought.
So, one thing I want to leave off because I usually keep it very sweet. I'm always going to keep it sweet because my guys do the talking and final thoughts. Listen to their album. That's how you remember their work. If somebody doesn't know their work, pass it down. They might enjoy it. That's how you make the memory live long. But let's get into a schedule update. So we have nobody who said 1 or 2 or anything. So I'm going to keep the schedule unchanged. I'm not changing it. So we had a choice, but nobody wanted to vote. So where's my show stuff? Here it is.
That's fine.
So this Saturday, we are talking about what if the NWO came back? Yes, I'm doing it, David. You're gonna be there. I don't want to hear
Uh,
your moping or grinding or any of your little
Trey
baby.
Taylor, if you're listening, please show up because this is no simple discussion. If the NWO come back, I'm sure Mr.
Reach
Paul
out
Better
to
will.
him then. Reach
I
out to him.
understand. I don't got his contact, but I'm trying to get hold of him. Even Mr. Paul Better will understand it. What the NWO did in wrestling, it's hard to replicate it again. And then the reason why they came to existence for a particular reason was its connection to the documentary of Victor Ben.
Yeah. Okay. So hang on. Don't get ahead of me.
I ain't trying to get
Next
ahead.
Thursday,
I
we
really,
are talking about raising a kid in a unique world. Yes, you're going to be there, Davis. You and your big bolt eyes.
I know that's so all
Next
fathers.
Saturday, we are talking about Vince McMahon, the man behind the empire, the documentary. And this one is going to hit. Now Dave's eyes are going to really pop out as I talking about next
No,
Thursday, the 28th, the day before my birthday, by the way. We're talking about how long should you wait before you have sex?
Paul, this is your topic. This
Look,
is
I
your
got one answer, so I don't know if I'll be.
It's in 2
this
weeks.
is your
We,
topic. You put yourself out there on this make everybody talking about the BMU, how you went about yours. So this is your topic.
no, I'm talking about a relationship. How long you have to wait? If you get your pee pee wet.
Ladies and gentlemen, I have been without it for more than 3.5 years and counting. So I'm keeping that video
So
for
this is
you.
that show comes on a request from a prescriber, Alicia, because she had something went down. I can't share her information exactly. I will tell you guys off camera, because I'm allowed to do that much. But I was told if I don't mind doing the show, she's curious about people's opinions. So yeah. So except that, earthquake slash Black Davis slash a pole bear or
Hold
pole.
on. How can I be earthquake? I'm not at twice as BMU is. Come on.
Actually, no, I'm not talking about earthquake like a big side. Earthquake like a superpower, like a compliment. Like I
No,
call him
this
president, you're earthquake.
hit a problem in history. Earthquake had given to two different individuals. Earthquake
Oh,
was a
Jesus
wrestler
Christ.
who was big in WWF, and Earthquake was given to a rap artist who was as big as BMU. So based on the
I
description
can
of
call you
Earthquake,
Tsunami next time if you keep it up.
no, Tsunami is also as big as Earthquake, and I'm not even that big either.
He's bigger, actually, I think.
It was bigger. They were a tag team if you think about it. Earthquake and Tsunami, they were a tag team in WWF.
David, shut up.
You ain't gonna win with me with this one. So Earthquake for BMU. I
I'm
gave
going to
him
put my
that
foot in your
nickname.
mouth. That's what's going to happen.
No,
All right,
Ghost.
David, you have anything else to say?
There's the
David,
video I call him Earthquake.
you have
He
anything
did a
else to say?
video on me. He did a video that was disrespectful, and Paul know about that video. See, he's smiling.
Okay.
He knows exactly what I'm talking about. There was a video that BM to play that I found it so disrespectful. Everyone was laughing, and I told BM, I got a joke for you when it come. And ever since I
I
came
know
in front of
about
Earthquake,
that
that
video.
one, yeah,
That's funny, actually.
I was tight.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, Dave, you got anything else to say?
Nah,
Mr.
this
President?
No, I'm good here. Good here.
Guys, as always, this was the Spartan HQ Network. So do me a favor, stay fresh, stay safe, and I